So we had occasions that he had to visit. We have produced quite interesting people. I'm sure your school, through you, will produce amazing people. The same government college you might have produced your former vice president, Alex Ekweme, and the great Pius Ukibu, one of the finest economists on the continent. So quite a lot of government.
Ambode went to Ambode.
No, he went to government college, Warri.
Warri, oh, sorry.
Yes, Warri. Yes. Okay. Now, so Achebe asked us once that who do you think was the greatest character there? He says he's been doing a research on the book and the critical perception of readers. Then there's a theory in English and literature called reader response theory. So he was interested in a paper and ultimately to produce a book that could enable people critically examine the written text. So anytime he was amidst or amongst people who had read his books, he would always ask that question. I won an award that very day for choosing to be different. And I didn't do it deliberately. It was just that naturally I have that capacity to critically see things differently. So I did not agree that that Okonkwo was the strong character. In fact, in my opinion, I think he was the weakest man in the entire book. In the entire story, I consider him an extremely weak person. And I will break it down to you. Now, Okonkwo didn't have any internal psychological driver. What I mean by that is something that motivates you because by yourself, you are convinced that this is your spirit, this is your conviction, this is what you know, this is your understanding. Okonkwo was driven by what the other person expected of him, what society wanted from him, what his ancestors and his tradition considered to be great. So he did not have a character of his own. He was a puppet that was dancing to the control of societal expectation, parental expectation, family expectation, so traditional expectation. So he had no contribution. He just decided that, okay, I will impress you. And he just began doing things to impress. And of course, naturally, he was strong physically, but he was mentally weak. He was spiritually weak, which was why he did things just because they were pushing him, there were forces pushing him. He didn't want to be seen as weak, you see. Because he was weak internally, he had to fight to, in the way he understood it, that, okay, this is how to be strong. And it takes a weak person to take a child he had raised and behead him, because not doing so means society will think you are weak. You see, society will think. Do you understand that? Yes. Now, when you read, don't let the writer lead you by the nose. Do you understand? Read with your heart and soul. Understand the story. Develop your own critical views. Don't be afraid to tell the writer, I don't agree with you. Okay, that is why if you pick your pen and write a review, the writer could read and say, whoa, I did not see this. This is a beautiful review. The writer will learn again from you about his own book. Like Chinua Achebe said to me, and I felt that was really important, when a great man like that said, I learned something from it today. Wow. Do you understand? And it set me on the path of writing. Because he spoke into my life by saying, you will make a great writer. I've not shared big volumes of what I've written with my sister, but she's read snippets of some things I write. And she will tell you, I could just as well match Chinua Achebe when I write. Without being immodest. The great man himself, Chinua Achebe, made me develop that confidence. But naturally, I have that audacity, that confidence to just speak my mind.
From 3 students?
Yes, that was how I became the editor of the magazine. It was supposed to be, my school had higher school. So you had Form 5, lower 6, and upper 6. Those days, you don't HSC. Good. But they broke tradition because of me that day. Because that position was supposed to be for Form 5 students. People who were already on their verge of leaving school, and you could tell from their command of the language and their written, essays that they could be editors. So they said, no, this is the editor. Wow. And so I probably was the only and first Form 3 to be editor of that one. Because my school, you just need to do the research yourself so I don't sound like I'm praising the school. Very thoroughgoing academic culture. So for a Form 3 kid to be put there, the man saw something. And the years passed, and it looked as if he really saw something, So, but basically, that was, in my opinion, why I think Okonkwo was a weakling. Now, you see, you could be weak and be forceful. You are still weak. Do you understand? If you put a gun in the hand of this man, and somebody attacks him, the gun is in his pocket, and you slap him all over, and he's just trying to evade and avoid the conflict. For the ordinary observer, you will call him a weakling. Why? Because he was being attacked, and he's not reacting with violence. You say, that man must be a weakling. He's afraid of being beaten up. Did you see the way that guy was beating him? Meanwhile, there was a gun in his pocket. All he needed to do is bring it out, make a little hole on his forehead, and case closed. Case closed. But the man you thought was weak was indeed super strong, to the point where he could take insult, take personal violations, understand too that he had power to kill the other fellow, held himself back from doing so, and walked away from trouble. That is power. That's a lot of strength. That is self-control. Now, that is what makes, in my opinion, Unoka, the father of Okonkwo, the strongest. When the priest came to him and said, hey, we did divinations, your father, your own grandfather said you should give him a goat in a particular ritual. He said, ask him.
So I want to kill a book going to chapter 5 or something.
Okay, so,
sorry.
All right. Okay, so but basically you will get to find out why I think Unoka is the strongest man.
Yeah.
He has the character to engage an entire society and say, I don't think all of this is worth it. He has the mind to build a new era. He could interrogate what you call culture and tradition, accept the things he thinks are okay, and reject what he thinks are not. That is power. That is the stuff of the new man. That is the stuff of a revolutionary. The ones who change society are the ones who dare to agree with the things that are not okay with society. So as you grow up, as you study, remember those words. The idea of your education is not to build a compliant, suppliant, and totally and completely, followership kind of mentality. You can follow, but if your government, if your society is not worth following, do something about it. Right? Then think it through. Challenge those you must challenge. Do it peacefully and peaceably, but don't back down. Yeah. That is the only way the next generation will not sit in a classroom like this. They will sit in a better classroom. That's the only way your kids will tell you we're having better fun than you did. So, Nice meeting you all.
Okay, you may sit. So this is why we have adopted Simawa, to bring global citizens like my brother here to you guys, because you can even pay to see him, right? But here in your classroom for free. Go all the way from Lagos. I'm really, really grateful that you came. It's inspiring. And it echoes some of the things I've been telling you, that you should challenge the system, right? You shouldn't just agree. I said, don't disrespect, but you can disagree. I've said that. That you need to agitate the system. If you don't agree with something, speak up. Have I not said that? Yes. It's very important. So we have the same wavelength, my people. Anyone I bring to you, we're along the same track line. But we think somewhat alike. That you need to agitate the system and ask questions. But about Konko, right? Food for thought. Yeah. If I knew I was going to say that to you, I would have said, don't say it. Yeah. Okay? But I wanted you guys to get there yourself, right? And having said that, don't let what is position of Konko bias your own thinking. Exactly. It's very important. If you agree with what he just said, until now, there's a general consensus that Konko is the strongest. Now it's making you think like, maybe you were wrong. Don't think you were wrong. It's just food for thought. Think a little deeper with the knowledge he just gave you. Examining your Konko character. And the teacher, a wonderful teacher, Miss Kolade, from what you just heard now too, you want to challenge them to interrogate this book. You understand the word interrogate, right? Yes, we need to also examine that word more on many levels. Interrogate this book the way he just challenged you to do so. By saying Okonkwo is not the strongest character, right? That requires some intellectual thinking, like, oh, the guy is strong now, it's a wrestler and so on. So with everything you do, always question, especially when you disagree. Listen to your sound, listen to your voice rather. Debate, yeah. You have to own your voice. And that voice that tells you whatever it tells you anytime, trust that voice. And when something is a yes for you, it's a yes. When something is a no, it's a no. But when you're not sure, you need to interrogate, right? So I'm going to stop there. We're going to go and find you lunch, but we will be back. Thank you.